What's going on, everyone? Welcome on into Coffee with Brodes on this Thursday. We had an unbelievable game last night. That NBA Finals game was intense as hell. It was insane. I can't believe the Bucks pulled that out. And I tried telling everybody because everyone said, "Oh, Suns, it's easy, no brainer." I said, wait until you see what happens in Milwaukee. This is the NBA Finals. This is the NBA playoffs. Having home court advantage could be a significant difference maker. And what do you know? With the blink of an eye, it's now a 3-game series. Now, 2 of those games are in Phoenix, and I still like Phoenix's chances here. But let's not act as if, come on now. Come on now. We have ourselves a series. Let's not act as if we don't have ourselves a series now. Incredible. I can't believe they pulled that out. They came back. They fought hard. Khris Middleton was sensational, knocking down mid-range jumpers, knocking down the shots at will that he was getting, putting the rock in his hands and saying, take us to the promised land. Chris Paul, turnover late, not the best execution. Devin Booker, foul trouble. Then he actually picks up his 6th foul. They don't call it. Giannis with the alley-oop block. There was so much drama involved. It was an incredible game. And, if you weren't tuned in, that's very unfortunate because you missed some great action. I had a feel throughout the entire game, though, as I was on Twitter. Look, if LeBron James or the Cleveland Cavaliers or Steph Curry was in the NBA Finals, there wouldn't be an individual not discussing it. Twitter life is so dead during these NBA Final games, and it's just crazy to me. It makes me feel as if not that many people are watching and enjoying it. It's like, come on now. There's still something to have here. There's still something. It's not as special as I want it to be, but there's still something here that deserves the attention. I'm not even feeling it, especially when there's no baseball. You're in the middle of the All-Star break. I would have thought last night was going to pop on social media, on Twitter, in-game, and I got absolutely nothing. So with that, we begin as always. Cheers, everybody. A little weird for me this morning. I woke up at 5:45 and hit the gym before Coffee with Brodes. And that's the first time I've done that. Normally I go after Coffee with Brodes, but I have some things I got to take care of today after the show. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. We'll wake up at 5:45. We'll get after it. And I am dying. It's weird. It's a weird feeling. My body is not used to this. All right, let's get to the comments. Let's hear from everyone. Jacob said Chris Paul looked gassed last night. Yeah, dude. He looked all over the place. I thought Legs had some fascinating things to say after the game on ESPN. I flipped it over to Scott Van Pelt because nothing's better than SVP after a huge moment and a big game. He was pretty much discussing how what Giannis is going to provide for you. Khris Middleton, while he's had some ups and downs, he felt that, look, you kind of know where Khris Middleton is at and what he's capable of doing. But the X factors for each team is Chris Paul and who did he say for the Milwaukee Bucks? Because I thought originally before he said it was going to be Lopez, but it wasn't Lopez. Who did he say it was for the Bucks? Let me look through. Oh, Jrue Holiday. He said that Jrue Holiday is the X factor because you kind of know what you're going to get out of Giannis and you kind of know what you're going to get out of Middleton, even though not necessarily a 40 burger like he put on last night, but just in general, you kind of understand the type of player that he is. You don't know what you're going to get out of Jrue Holiday each night. And I guess you can kind of make the argument you don't fully know what you're going to get out of Middleton either. But if you look at it compared to Jrue Holiday, I do understand what he's saying. And with Chris Paul right now, you don't know what he's going to provide. So those two are the X factors. But Khris Middleton came up really big, and that was just great, possession after possession. And there's a bit of me that laughs and chuckles because it worked, and Giannis did a lot of things that impacted this game that wasn't necessarily scoring, and it wasn't necessarily shooting the basketball. He had the huge block late, which was just insane. The pass wasn't perfect, and I feel if the pass was a little bit better by Devin Booker on the alley-oop, we're not even talking about that block, but it was the recovery, and it was the way that in midair he adjusted to even make a more of an explosive move, blocking the basketball, which is just outrageous. It makes no sense whatsoever. But if you look at, where was I going with that? Oh, yes, the chuckle and the laugh. While I appreciate Khris Middleton, and I know what he is, and I know what he can do for you, like drop 40 points in an NBA Finals, relying on Khris Middleton with 2 minutes to go and change to just knock down shots at will and be the closer, it really just it goes back to not being able to shoot a basketball for Giannis. You have a superstar on your team and you're running your offense through your second and third guy because someone doesn't shoot a basketball. Now, that doesn't mean Giannis didn't impact the game. He did impact the game. He made a lot of special plays. But there's a bit of me, and there's a lot of it that ties together with Ben Simmons, and that's never going to get out of my head, and I'm going to be emotionally tied to that for the rest of my damn life. It's like, really? It worked. It worked. Can that work forever? Can that be enough? It possibly can. I think it can be. In this specific series, yes. If you were going up against a LeBron James, a Steph Curry, a Kevin Durant, if you're going toe-to-toe with Khris Middleton, I think you feel pretty good about your odds if you're on the other side. In this specific series, yeah, you might be able to get around it and it might be able to work. And I'm not disrespecting Khris Middleton. He has a skill set and he is a solid player and he can help out a team. And, he's good. He's a good player. NBA Finals, 2 minutes to go, back and forth action. Go get me buckets consistently. I don't know if that's something I want to heavily, heavily rely on if I'm a franchise, but it worked out last night. So that's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. Why are people glorifying the Suns fans who beat up the Nuggets fans? I mentioned that before a cup of milk, that he became a national superstar basically for being Suns in 4 guy. Yet if that's any other fan base, if that's this fan base, you're getting criticized and heavily discussed forever. They probably bash Sixers fans for even acknowledging someone who beat up another fan in their home stadium. It would be, how dare Sixers fans put this guy on a pedestal and praise who he is after clocking an opposing individual who's a fan of the other team in his own building. That we would be just criticized to like the nth degree. Nolan says, I think today is one of the first days without any professional sporting events on. Why we got to do that? It's 9:07 a.m. in the morning, and we're putting the spirits down, and we're talking about the negativity. Look, I know this city sometimes drives me crazy with the sports teams, but there's no way in hell we got to sit here today and talk about how much of a disappointing night it's going to be. I have some ideas, though, for some discussions later on. You just got to anticipate the Philadelphia Phillies, who have a really solid chance of winning the division analytically and statistically. If you look at the rest of the teams, the Mets, the Braves, the Marlins, the Nationals, the Phillies have a statistical chance, a really good one compared to the rest, to win that division. So you just wait for tomorrow. That's what it's all about. Brodes, do you think Middleton and Giannis are lesser versions of Kobe and Shaq? Come on. With all due respect, I can't even put them even close to the same conversation. You're talking about arguably one of the best big men we've ever seen, most dominant. Because, there's been plenty of big men that have a better skill sets than Shaq, but the physical force of what Shaq was able to bring to the table and the dominance of the thickness and the bigness, and when he would put his body into the paint and how much he would destroy and annihilate any defender that even came a half an inch close to him. Even how good Giannis is, I can't even put that in the same category. And Kobe, I can't even. They're not even close, these two. You're talking about historic runs. You're talking about the Lakers winning championships and being how we looked at the Golden State Warriors kind of thing, right? The Golden State Warriors, they're going to be there. Kobe and Shaq, they're going to be there. You don't feel that way with Khris Middleton and Kobe Bryant. Henry asked, do I think Dame puts you over the hump? Well, gives you the best opportunity to get over the hump. It's very difficult. It's very hard. As you see, a team with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden had its flaws and had its issues. Granted, it was an injury problem, but who says that can't happen in Philadelphia? We just watched Joel Embiid have a meniscus injury. Now he played through it and had some great nights and some historic nights, putting up 40 points and showing his will and determination. but, it puts you in the best chance. That's all you can ask for. Have the best chance. Does it actually happen? I don't know. This is sports, and that's why we watch it, and it's the beauty of why we are entertained by two teams competing at a very high level. You don't know what the outcome is going to be. But all I can ask for when entering a specific series or entering a playoff run is have a good chance. Actually be in the conversation, not a fraud conversation. Be in the mix legitimately. That's all I can ask for. And you're not legitimately in the mix if you have Ben Simmons on your basketball team. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yankee. I didn't even remember that either, to be honest with you. I thought everything kicked off on Thursday. So you're right. Good. I'm glad that people picked up on that because I have so much going on. I'm in a wedding Saturday, so I have the rehearsal dinner tonight, and I have some things I got to do prior. So my brain is so not in sports mode right now because, as you alluded to, it's Red Sox-Yankees, which is a fantastic matchup, may I add. But my brain's just knowing I'm waiting for the Phillies and knowing that's my next personal big event that I'm pretty juiced up for. It's not like my brain is there. So I'm glad. I'm glad that somebody picked that up. It did remind me of that, Jack. Blocked by Antetokounmpo. It did remind me of the block by James. If you go back, if the Bucks win this series, that's what you're going to remember. That's the special moment. Unless there's a wild buzzer beater or there's this crazy scenario in a game 6 or a game 7 to deliver the victory, to put the dagger in the hearts of the opposing team, for the Larry O'Brien to be held close to the chest of a certain player. Unless that happens, then it's going to be that moment. You're going to be discussing that specific play. No, Savion, the Phillies play the Miami Marlins in a doubleheader. So they play at 4 and they play at 7 tomorrow. That's what they have. So they open up with a doubleheader. And just real quick, when you look at Zach Wheeler, the difference in Zach Wheeler's first half and second half is absolutely outrageous. His second halves are clearly better. If we got ourselves a 2.26 ERA in the first half, what does that mean we are going to get in the second half? It's going to be definitely ridiculous to see, what type of performance he puts on and how strong he goes moving forward. His second half in 2018, a 1.68 ERA. In 2019, a 2.83 ERA. And both of the ERAs in the first half were over 4.40. So if you're getting 4.40 ERAs and significantly cutting that out in the second half, what's going to happen this year? Now, it's crazy to think that he's going to do anything magical and anything even better, right? How much better can you demand? And you have a 2.26 ERA right now. How much more intense can you get? Jacob deGrom, who isn't even a human being, and he's a cyborg, and he's a robot, and he's half not human being. You can't demand that. So what is next? It'll be very interesting to see what's going on. Yes, that's what they have, Nolan. They have the Marlins in a 4-game series, Yankees in a 2-gamer, and then the Braves come to town, and that's how they kick off this second half. So I know it says when you look at the numbers that they have the easiest schedule. They play their division a lot, and their division's bad, but they're part of the division. So when they play the Marlins and the Braves and the Nationals and the Mets, and you look at that as, well, they have a good chance of winning those series because their division's bad. They're part of the division. And I'm not trying to be negative Nancy here about the Phils. I'm just trying to look at what I've seen for majority of this first half. And look, there's a way to describe this, and it's a pretty basic term. It's cautiously optimistic. And I'm just cautiously optimistic because 3 series in a row is magnificent, right? It's good. It's important. They needed that. They needed to build some sort of momentum. They had to gain life, and they executed that against some good teams, some quality opponents. San Diego at home, and the Boston Red Sox on the road in Fenway. And one of those games, you have a COVID list problem, and you lose Aaron Nolan. You have to pitch a bullpen game, and Brandon Kintzler starts. So that's an egregious way to end your third game, your final game of a series, and you win it. So it's important to have that. I just, I can't go too far ahead of myself. And maybe we'll get a chance to talk about it before these games kick off. We'll see in a pod. But, yeah, it's, just where I'm at. MJ says, got a feeling the Mets are going to pull an absolute choke job and lose the division somehow when it's theirs to win. Yeah, you could never trust the Mets. Never, never, never. They're not a team that you put a lot of faith into. There's a reason why we talk about the Mets the way that we do. It's not as if their offense is just the most electric offense in the world. So let's go offensive rankings. Where do they fall with the offensive rankings? There's so many different ways we can approach this. The Mets are 24th in batting average, although, batting average is so wonky of a statistic these days. Let's go to OPS. They're 25th in OPS. In home runs, they are 26th. My point is, and it's pretty clear, their offense is not something that you can heavily, heavily rely on. Now, just looking at it from the Phillies' perspective as well, I haven't looked at this before. I'm just kind of throwing it out there. The Phillies are batting average-wise right in the middle. They're 14th, middle of the pack. OPS, they are 15th, right in the middle of the pack. Home runs, they sit in the category of, where do they fall? 19. So they're basically middle of the pack. And that's why when I see 44 and 44 and I see a 500 baseball team, I don't jump out of my seat. Now, I know the division allows for that to be in play and gives them an opportunity, but I just see average. I see average. And I said from the jump this season, I can see them if 81 and 81 is their 500 record. I see them as an 84, 85 win team, just a tick above 500. Would 84, 85 wins win this division? I mean, that would be sad if so. That would be sad if so. Savion says, I'm being cautiously optimistic. I acknowledge the Phillies are only 500, and I also acknowledge that the Phillies won 3 straight series, especially one of those being against the Red Sox. Yeah, I mean, that's the way I'm handling it as well. I'm not going too overboard. I'm not screaming too heavily about it. I'm excited. I'm intrigued. I'm proud of their fight towards the end to keep us engaged. The fact that this Marlins series matters. This Marlins series is highly fascinating. You want to see how they're going to compete. You want to see how they start off this second half, right? You have it written down on the calendar. They play Friday. If they were out of it, and they would be in every other division in the National League, but they're not in any other division out of the league, in the National League, so it is important. You have them written in as, I am going to see how they play in both games on Friday. I have to see it. And they put themselves in that position. They do not do well in these doubleheaders, though, statistically speaking. They are horrendous in doubleheaders. I heard this thrown around yesterday. Would I trade Bohm and prospects for Khris Bryant? If Khris Bryant is in the long-term plans, yes. If you're talking about trading him for the rest of this contract, then absolutely not. Absolutely not. Now, if you look at his age, Khris Bryant right now is 29 years old. If you can get him signed and he stays here, then absolutely. I'm not trading Alec Bohm for him to go somewhere else. Right now, he's hitting .271 with 16 home runs. And I like Khris Bryant. I think his name makes it seem like he's better than what he is, though. Name recognition, name brand, what he did in Chicago at times. I feel that his name hitting .295, hitting .292 back in 16 and 17, I don't see him as that anymore, though. He's not a .292 type of guy. He's not a .295 guy. He's more in that .270 range. Look, last year, now he only played 34 games, but he hit .206. The year before, .282. He's probably more that .280 hitter than he is that .300 hitter. But if you think about the pop that you get with his bat in the lineup compared to the lack of pop you get out of Alec Bohm, a .280 hitter of Khris Bryant, yeah, I would look into it if he's going to stay here for sure. I think you get him, he signs. Well, I need to know he signs. I'm not just trading Alec Boehm and then having Chris Bryant go in another direction. That is a part of the deal. You're signing here if we make the trade. No, he's not overrated. I wouldn't say he's overrated. I just think that his name pops more than does that mean overrated? To a degree, but no. Like, he still gives you a lot. 280 and 282 is not an embarrassment. I mean, you're still providing a lot of spark for an offense. You're still contributing in a solid way. It's just, okay, instead of 295, he's 280. That's still a good spot to be. It's overrated to me as if he was hitting 250 and he was hitting 292 and now he's hitting 250. Hitting 280 and giving you 16 home runs to this point, on track for over 30 home runs. If he hits 280 and gives you 32 home runs, I don't believe that that's overrated. And he can play a couple different positions for you as well. The versatility of Chris Bryant adds a lot to the table. Yeah, you're right. An MVP Young will do that. You're right. You see that happen at one point, and you think, oh, that's the trajectory. But, it's difficult to keep that up forever. I think that that's very fair. Where else are we here? He would have to hit lots of home runs. What do you mean? If he hits 32 home runs with a 270, 275 batting average, if that's what he provides for you, is that not good enough? It's more than what Boehm gives you. I mean, if we're comparing this to Alec Boehm, who can't defend, and he'll never get better at defending. Alec Boehm's problem is his size, his physical features. That's the issue. It's not anything other than he's 6'5" and he's playing the hot corner. He can't naturally play the position. He's out of whack because his body frame is very large and it makes it awkward. It makes it tough for him. He's going to be a bad third baseman. He's going to be bad if you throw him in left field. I don't feel any better about him playing first base than the issue you already have at first base. The position is not fit for Alec Boehm, and I don't know where Alec Boehm could play in the field. If you can get Chris Bryant, who can bring you versatility and give you more pop and similar numbers, sign me up any day of the week. Sign me up any day of the week. But he's got to stay here. I'm not doing it for half a year of a contract. Not at all. Yeah, agreed. Agreed, Jack. He's an MVP. He's not MVP anymore, but he's still an all-star type of player. No doubt about it. I agree with that. And, you get a little life going to a new place, although the new place isn't the most, I'm not going to say friendly, but, there is a disaster involved here in Philadelphia, it seems. If the Mets buy at the deadline and get Chris Bryant, it's over for us. I guess. I guess. I mean, their offense is not very good. I just leveled it out for you, right? They're in the 25, 24, 25 category out of all the teams. Chris Bryant would absolutely help, but it's still the Mets, right? I mean, they added Francisco Lindor. They have Jacob deGrom, who is on another level. We don't even believe that he is from this planet. And they're still in a spot where the Phillies have the best chance to win this division. So while it would help the Mets and it would bring them up with some of these rankings and they'd probably do better offensively and it would help out with protection in the lineup and it would add depth in that lineup, it's still the Mets and they still have their own problems. And while the Phillies still have their own problems too, it's over. I can't say it's over. As much as Chris Bryant's a nice player, no, it's not. The NL East is the NL East for a reason. We talk about the NL East for a reason. No, it's not. Alec Boehm and Rhys Hoskins are cornerstones. Yeah, I understand that for sure. Adam says Rhys is better defensively than Boehm, which is sad as fuck. You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. You're absolutely correct. Rhys Hoskins is a better defender than Alec Boehm. Ew. That is a horrendous statement to make. If you're in that side, on that side of the, if you're looking at defending and you put Rhys Hoskins somewhere all the way in the beginning because that's how egregious he is, if you somehow fall on that left side of Rhys Hoskins, my Lord, you are a horrendous defender. If the Mets trade for Gausman, then yes, it's over for the Phillies. Is that going to happen? Like, in what universe is that going to happen? In what universe are the Giants going to make that decision that they are going to move on from Gossman during the year that they are having in San Francisco? It's unfortunate. Yeah, it does seem like there's always something lingering, though. He goes 5 innings, he goes 4 innings, and then he's getting his shoulder checked out, and then he's going back to the clubhouse. There's always some problem with Jacob deGrom, which kind of stinks because I want to see him compete and be fantastic. By the way, all these numbers are incredible for the home run derby and for the spot where baseball is right now. I think the other day I read you the numbers on the percentage of watch time, the percentage of ratings that's going up in baseball. And right now, you have Red Sox and Yankees on tonight. Now, Bob Wankel from Crossing Broad, who I love reading his stuff, he just put out a fantastic piece on Aaron Nola talking about how he needs to be better, talking about his numbers to this point. But he says, believe in something the way MLB believes people still care about Yankees-Red Sox rivalry. I still think people do care about that rivalry. I do. I think right now baseball is in such a great spot that people are going to tune into this game tonight. As we alluded to before, there's not much on in sports today, so there's not something that's going to water the product down. The fact that baseball has kind of been life to the party, other than last night when the Bucks did their thing. The storyline over the past 2 days in sports was Shohei Ohtani, was Vlad Guerrero Jr., was the All-Star game and the Home Run Derby. So there's life right now to the party with baseball. And you throw a Yankees-Red Sox on, I believe people are tuning in. That's my opinion. Back to basketball, though. Henry says Simmons' peak prime starts now. No, it doesn't. He doesn't shoot a basketball. He does not shoot a basketball. I don't know what player is going to have a prime that doesn't shoot a basketball. And he's not willing enough like Giannis. Giannis is the outlier. You're right. He shoots it. He doesn't shoot it well, but he shoots it. So it's a different spot for a player. But what do you mean? There's no such thing as a peak or prime when you play the way that Ben Simmons plays. He's out of town. It's all gone. The thing is, we are basically going to go through this whole summer of, I'm hearing this. I'm hearing these reports. I'm seeing this. I'm hearing that. And it's all smoke screens sent by each organization. We did this with the Eagles. Howie Roseman leaking information to Schefter. Howie Roseman leaking information to all the national reporters. Chris Mortensen. So things will fly around. So it's like, okay, when's this? Oh, they got a first-round pick from the Indianapolis Colts as long as X, Y, and Z happens. And there's compensation, all that we saw. Now, it's going to be the same way with Ben. Well, I'm hearing this and I'm hearing that. I know, I got you. Daryl Morey's putting out his information. The Sacramento Kings are putting out their information. Who's going to bite first? Who's going to make the push for Damian Lillard? It's all going to be drama, 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 drama. That's what it's going to be. What's the second best option if Lillard isn't available? Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal is the second best option if you cannot land Damian Lillard. That's who you go after next. Would the Wizards be willing to do that? I don't know. I don't know if they would be. That doesn't scream. I mean, it feels like every year Bradley Beal is a guy that a team wants to trade for, and it never happens, and he's in Washington, D.C. when the season begins. So, it's a name that's been thrown around every single offseason, it seems. But that would be your next best option. Yes, I understand how the primes work, but Ben Simmons stinks. There's the difference. You talked about LeBron. You talked about Kobe. Those guys are willing to play the sport of basketball. Even Giannis, willing to play the sport of basketball. You're talking about an individual who does not play the sport of basketball. So, therefore, there's no prime. No basketball play, no prime. Basketball, prime. Right? I mean, that's basically where it is if we're talking about his prime on the court. Now, everyone has prime in their life. People say their prime is college, where you can just get after it and shotgun beers all day long on Saturday afternoons and then go to a football game shit-faced and go crazy and then try and, get a little freaky with some blondes afterwards, right? I mean, that's what your prime could be. Or your prime could be your late 20s when you're living with your wife or your significant other in a house and you buy your first property and you have kids, maybe that's the prime of your life. Everyone has different primes in different spots or whatever, right? You finally start making real people money. You start making big bucks so you can kind of splurge a bit more and do different things. Maybe that's your prime of your life. Everyone is prime of their lives. Prime of basketball. Ben Simmons doesn't have a such thing. He doesn't shoot a basketball. I played hoops this morning. I talked about how I went to the gym. What'd I do? I played hoops. You know what I did the whole time? I shot basketballs the whole time. The entire time I shot hoops. I was working on shooting off the dribble. I was working on my handles. I was working on just finishing with my left hand because that's not my strongest shoot. I struggle in that area. I was putting in the work. I went hoodie. I went sweating my ass off, hoodie, hood up even at times, the classic gray hoodie look. I had my capri leggings on, my 3/4 leggings on underneath of my shorts. I was putting in the work, shooting the basketball. I don't know what Ben Simmons does, but he isn't going to have a prime. He isn't going to have a prime. Ben Simmons hasn't improved since his rookie season. Yeah, I know. You're right. You're right. You're right. You know what's funny? Like, here we are talking about Ben, right? Now I think about it, it's like, damn, this always finds a way back to Ben Simmons. But it makes sense. I'm not angry about that. I had somebody comment on my last Sixers video about the Sixers video was the Sixers open up trade conversations for Ben Simmons, right? And I basically stated it's not new news, but this person had the audacity. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it, to be honest with you. So I don't know if it's really relevant. Here it is. Brodes, you're such a bad sports broadcaster. You rant for 30 minutes saying Ben Simmons is getting traded and he can't shoot. If I heard one of your podcasts, I've heard them all. You haven't had new Sixers content since the playoffs. You're lazy. I'm lazy, apparently. What conversation with the 76ers is there to be had right now, other than Ben Simmons? Should I talk about Seth Curry? No, he's wrong because I talked about Danny Green and his inabilities after the comments, that is, his inability to realize where we are as a fan base. I talked about how Doc Rivers failed miserably and he had a horrendous playoff series. I talked about Tobias Harris and Joel Embiid and how they came up short as well, although a lot of those issues stemmed from Mr. 25. I went through all of that. What a douche, right? I just laugh at those comments. Kind of funny. Yeah, right? I'm with you, Nathan. Like, let me know what Sixers conversations you want to talk about. Do you want to talk about Seth Curry? What do you want me to have about Seth Curry? There's one topic with the 76ers that is going to be. Now, you could throw in tiny things. Sure, Matisse Thybulle's having some nice games with Australia. What else is there? I mean, you could throw in tiny things. What are you supposed to talk about when it comes to the 76ers? Let me know. I don't watch Skip Bayless. I don't watch Skip. I couldn't tell you the last time I was like, you know what I'm going to do today? Watch Skip Bayless. That's funny, though. If you're Rudy Gobert, you got to be sick to your stomach. Sick to your damn stomach. You got a point. Simmons won't fit on the Sixers with his playing style. He won't work in any playing style. He won't work in any playing style. He doesn't shoot. Like, this is enough is enough. This is over. Ben Simmons doesn't shoot a basketball. What is this? I mean, really, what are we talking about here? You know, we need to all take 5,000 steps back, right? We know the emotions. We know how much we're upset. We know the disgust that's sitting in our bodies to the point where some can't even watch the NBA Finals. And I disagree with that, but fine, to each their own. This man does not shoot a basketball. And it's not the same as some of the better point guards who were past first. And by the way, it's a different era. So if you start diving back to some of the older generations, the 90 guys and those type of players who played in the 90s, early 2000s, who were past first point guards, it's a different game. It's a different generation. So you have to factor in 2021. What are we talking about? Oh, it'll work this and that. And if he has that. No. He doesn't shoot a basketball. Enough's enough. Enough is enough. Chris says, Brodes, how great is it the Phillies are finally going to have a legit system? Are they? What makes you feel that way? I don't know if they're going to. What makes us feel that? I saw their draft. Sure, they got Painter. They left Khalil Watson on the board, who went to the Marlins, who historically do have some very solid prospects, and they find ways to groom players. Now, when everyone's at the major league level, they seem to struggle, and they move those pieces. Then you got Yelich, you got JT, you got Stanton. But there's no doubt that they do have a system that does generate a lot of talent and a lot of buzz. Look, I can read up on all these guys, and you could talk about their fastball command and how big their body frame is, this and that. So these guys are 18 years old, 17. I'm not going to freak out about an outfielder that has pop at 17 in high school. I don't know what these guys are going to be. I don't know what any of these guys are going to be. Yeah, none of these guys move the needle, right? You would trade Simmons, Thibault, Tyrese Maxey, and 3 firsts, because if you don't win with Dame, then now your future is screwed. That's a risk you have to take. And your future's not screwed forever. That's a flawed narrative. There's plenty of ways to work around that. You have Joel Embiid. You have Damian Lillard for years to come. If you talk about 3 first-rounders, those two would be together for the next 3 years. And then after that, you have picks again. You will have Damian Lillard and Joel Embiid for the next 3 years if you talk about those first-round draft picks. Then you have draft picks again after that. Those 2 players will be together. So, yeah, that's a risk you're willing to take. That's what you do. That's how the NBA works. There's a reason why the Brooklyn Nets go all in and get a James Harden. There's a reason why when a player becomes available like Damian Lillard, James Harden, all these pieces that get moved around the NBA for blockbuster deals, there's a reason why teams are willing to give that up, because you take a risk for elite superstar talent compared to some nice pieces. People get way too attached to nice pieces. I talked about the comment section earlier, right? That video I put up with Mark Farzetta had a comment on it that said Matisse Thybulle's an untouchable. How the fuck is Matisse Thybulle an untouchable? Come on. You know who else was an untouchable? Dario Saric a few years back. You know who else was labeled an untouchable? Robert Covington. No one's an untouchable unless your name's Joel Embiid, Kevin Durant, LeBron James. Those are untouchables, okay? Matisse Thybulle's an untouchable? What are we doing? What are we doing? It's unbelievable. It's just crazy. That's a risk, though. Simmons going to get moved, but that's a risk. What? Simmons stinks. He doesn't shoot a basketball. What's the risk? What's the risk in trading a player who doesn't shoot a basketball? I don't care about regular season. I don't care about regular season. I don't care about what he does in game 32. I don't care if he has a triple-double with 24 points, 12 assists, and 11 rebounds. I don't care if he has 40 points on the Utah Jazz. I don't care. I don't care. He does not win in the playoffs. His style of play is not efficient in the playoffs because the playoffs are a half-court game. That's what they are. They're half-court games. And he has no idea how to play basketball in the half court. Sorry. Yeah, I agree with you, Dylan. People are just absolutely insane. They get too, look, I know I get emotional. That's the beauty of sports talk with Brodes. I like to react right after. I like to show my appreciation, my frustration, how annoyed I am, how bothered I am. But I feel I can do a good job of letting it fly and letting it go, but being objective at the same time. There is a balance to it. And are there times where we go a little overboard? Absolutely. No doubt about it. But I feel I do a good job of the optimistic, objective, not optimistic, because sometimes I'm very pessimistic. I guess more just the objectivity of it, where we're talking about Matisse Thybulle being untouchable. Isn't that just absolutely insane? Absolutely insane. Devin Booker's really good, made some difficult shots. He also should have been out of the game. He also should have been kicked out of the game at that 6th foul. That's for damn sure. That 6th foul was awful. I thought the referees, it was unfortunate. After an NBA Finals game, the last thing I want to talk about is how the referees were. Now, Khris Middleton made shots, and Giannis had the block shot, which will take away from how brutal those refs were, but I'll tell you what, they were one of the worst things I've ever seen late, where afterward, that's what I was thinking about the whole time was, damn, the refs are just disgusting. Damn, the refs were blowing call after blowing call after blowing call after blowing call in an NBA Finals game. I wasn't actually talking about what was happening on the floor, and that's disappointing. Very disappointing. You think I don't bully Ben Simmons? I'm giving my objective viewpoint on it. He stinks, and he doesn't shoot a basketball. That's I bring this up because that is a narrative. The Philadelphia sports fans have bullied Ben Simmons. Watching a basketball team play and then analyzing the players and analyzing what they've done, I don't think is bullying. That's part of your job. As a professional athlete, you get criticized, you get loved, you get discussed by the national media market. There's opinionated sports talk for a reason. That is the job. That comes with the contract. That comes with playing the sport at a high level. I'm not bullying Ben Simmons. I'm looking at his game, saying that he is a major problem and he stinks. I mean, that's not bullying. You're bad at your job. It's just facts. It's facts. Bullying would be coming at him for personal things, coming at him for, like ripping him, the individual as a person. I'm ripping his basketball stuff. That's his job. His job is to perform on the basketball floor as a professional. And then my job is to give my opinion on that. I'm talking about him on the floor doing his job. I'm in the realm of sports. I'm in the realm of discussing what his issues are in a basketball setting. His issues are he can't shoot a basketball. So I don't like the word bullying. Now, I know that's not what you're saying, but that's how it's being viewed. Dylan comes in. What is bullying? You get paid to improve your game every day, and you have one job. If you went to work and didn't perform and you got fired, is that bullying? That's a great point. You're right. Like we're living in this world now where you can't criticize and you can't get on people. Like, think about just the coaching aspect. Remember back in the day, 2-a-days, no water, you dehydrate yourself. Now, clearly, that is horrendous for the body and not something that you need to be doing in sports science-wise. I'm not saying you go down that road. That's bad for your physical health. That's bad for your delivery out there on the respected sheet of ice, the basketball floor, the football field. If you're looking to maximize the most out of your athletes, that's not the way to go about things. But the way that you used to be treated by coaches and, get pushed by them, and they would be on your backs and they would just be hard on you all the time, nonstop. You can't do that anymore. And it just factored into where we are in general with fandom. It's terrible. No, I've actually defended him. I don't have a problem with him at Wimbledon. I don't have a problem with him playing video games. If you go to the gym and you work on your craft for four hours in the morning, let's say you work out from 8 a.m. to noon, and you just go gym and you pound out a phenomenal workout, you're putting in great effort, you're maximizing your opportunity here to get one day better, you get a good stretch in there, you foam roll, you worry about your nutrition, maybe you get a massage or something of that nature afterwards, and someone kind of stretches you out, and you do that for 4 or 5 hours in the morning, and then you play video games at 7 o'clock at night. I'm not one of those losers that say Ben can't play video games and he loves Call of Duty too much, he's not working on his craft. If you do what you need to do in the morning, and then you want to relax and go to Wimbledon at night or in the afternoon, or you do your job in the morning, and then you want to relax and watch a movie, or you want to relax and play video game, you can do that. I have no problem with him having other things that he enjoys doing outside of basketball. I don't attack that side of things, but I do attack the fact that he can't play basketball. Oh, come on. Oh my God. Are you for real, Henry? You're better than this. You're better than this. I feel bad for Ben Simmons. He plays for the Sixers, and every day he plays, he gets crazy hate. He doesn't shoot a basketball. Let's continue this. He gets hate by Sixers fans on Twitter and Instagram, so he's got to be great every game. Yes, we demand a $30 million player to shoot a basketball in the fourth quarter. He took 0 fourth quarter shots in 4 straight playoff games, and yet I'm supposed to be satisfied with that. Come on, Henry, grow up a little bit, for real. If he's not good or great, he's going to get a lot of slack. Welcome to professional sports, my friend. That's not fair. Yes, it is. This is part of the contract. This is every sport. And there's other cities too, by the way. Come on, Philly. No, this is how it works. You think Green Bay fans are just woohooing Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers for their season last year? Or do they fucking criticize them for being an embarrassment and falling flat on their face? Do they get disgusted with where they were after the season that they had? Do they get on every player for underachieving in a big moment at home in a playoff game? This is called being a professional athlete. You take the heat when you fail. We're not talking about a player who just missed an open shot. We're talking about a dude who wouldn't take a shot in 4 straight games in the fourth quarter, getting paid $30 million on a max contract. Come on. Well, see, Jorge, this is where I disagree with you. It's not about the money. Who cares if he's a multimillionaire? That's irrelevant. I feel bad for a guy who's a multimillionaire. That statement right there, that's going too far. Because that's like saying if you have a lot of money, you have no emotions. Or if you have a lot of money, then everything's perfect. That's not true. Like, there's people who have millions of dollars who go through depression, who go through anxiety, who go through all this. I'm just saying in general. That thing right there. I feel bad for a guy who's a millionaire. Well, I mean, that's a little too far. It's a little too ridiculous. With that said, basketball-wise, yeah, we need more out of Ben, the basketball player. We need more out of Ben, the basketball player. I think you went too extreme with your take there, Jorge, George. Jorge or George. However you pronounce it. But, yeah. Yeah, see, another one, right? This is going too far. I understand that, yes, I bring up he gets paid $30 million, but I'm talking about executing on the basketball floor, not lifestyle outside of sports. I'm talking you get paid $30 million to play basketball, to shoot a basketball, and he's not doing that. I'm not talking about how tough it is to have a lot of money outside of the game. I'm talking about strictly business. I'm talking about strictly on the floor. That's what I'm talking about. Do I think Ben Simmons loves basketball? I do. I think he does love the sport of basketball. You don't go this far if you hate it. Does he love it as much as other guys? Do I believe that he's all in like other players? No. No, I don't. And there's probably an element of the social media world that makes him maybe not love it as much as he once did. But that's part of the job. That's part of the job. But does he like the game of basketball? Does he love I do. I mean, he cares about the game of basketball. I can even tie this to my own personal experience. There was a time for me, I love hockey. Love hockey, played it from age 4 to 22. I went all the way to college hockey, and then I hung up the skates, right? We all know the story by now. But by the end, I still cared for hockey. It was my life forever. I never knew what my life would be like without the game. But I did lose enough where I wanted to head in another direction. So I still loved the game of hockey, but I didn't pour my emotions into it as much as I once did. And once I saw that kind of slip and I realized I had a passion for sports talk radio as much as I once loved the game of hockey, I recognized, okay, I loved sports talk radio just as much as I loved hockey in my prime. Okay, well, now I don't love hockey as much because the sports talk radio is taking away from that. So I still love the game, but I wasn't 100% in. I was maybe 70% in. And where I was in my career, I was a healthy scratch, in and out of the lineup type of guy. I didn't have the ability to be 70% in. Or guess what? My ass was in the stands taking stats, and I had to do that towards the end of my career because I just didn't love it as much. So I think there's an element of that for him where he likes the game, and he still loves the game of basketball. But compared to other stars in this league, yeah, I mean, there's definitely a jump. No, I will not root for Ben Simmons. I don't care for Ben. I don't care for anyone, though. That's the thing. It's not just a Ben Simmons thing. Now, a little different with the Wentz one. I'm cheering for Wentz Would I trade for Ben Simmons, though? No. I'm not cheering for Ben Simmons. No. I'm not heavily rooting against him. I'm not pouring my emotions to hate the guy. Quite frankly, I just don't give a damn. I don't care what happens to him when he's not here. I care about the Sixers. If he's playing in Sacramento or Portland, okay, good for you, Ben. I don't care. I don't give two fucks. I care about the Sixers. So, but I do care about the Carson Wentz debacle. That I do. Henry, I don't even know what you're saying anymore, man. I don't even know what you're saying. I don't like the seats behind the benches being not used. That is the most random comment of the day, Aiden. That is the most random comment of the day. I don't even, I honestly don't even know where to take that. I really don't even know where to take that. All right, what else do we got? Have I ever sat down and watched Matisse Thybulle highlights? No, I'll be honest with you. I normally don't just cruise in my day and search Matisse Thybulle highlights. So no, to be honest, maybe when they drafted him out of Washington, when I did a little bit of research on him, maybe that's the last time I sat down and watched Matisse Thybulle highlights. That's funny. So Savion says, I'm cheering for Wentz because of the first round pick. Well, that's an element. I'm also cheering for Wentz because of the morons that think he can't play football anymore and to think that all of the issues that happened last season were solely on the quarterback. And I kind of want him to shove it up the asses of those Eagles fans who just think that he straight up sucks after the 2017 season that he had, after the run that he had on with the practice squad players to bring them to the playoffs, the season where they won the last handful of games in a row and he put the entire city on his back. So there's an element of me where I'm pulling for Carson Wentz because, I'm a Carson Wentz fan and I enjoy the way that he plays the game. And I think that there's a lot of things that went wrong here. And unfortunately, he was somewhat of the face of that and stood in front of that, even though there was a good portion of him that sucked last season. I mean, he sucked, but there were many elements on why he sucked as well. And I think in a better scenario, in a better position, he's going to succeed. So you're right. There's the first round pick element that I'm rooting for heavily, to be honest with you. That sets yourself up next season with a lot of assets. That is intriguing if you're Howie Roseman in this front office. But yeah, I mean, I just from a Carson Wentz standpoint, I'm looking forward to it. The redemption tour. I agree. The redemption tour. Yeah, you're right. I do like defense, and you know that I love defense. But yeah, I mean, I got a lot of things to do in my day. So for the time that I have, it's like, hey, the last thing I'm thinking is, I'm going to do right now? I'm going to squeeze in a Matisse Thybulle highlight video. Oh, man. Brodes, any tips for weight loss workouts at the gym? Look, I'm your retired, I keep it pretty simple at the gym. I'm your typical retired athlete that just misses a good sweat. So I'm not a crazy, crazy heavy weightlifter. I'm not a wild, like perfection gym guy. I like to go to the gym. I like to put up basketball shots, get a really good sweat in. And that's what I like to do for my cardio. Just run around the court, do pull-up jumpers, practice shooting off the dribble, work on my step backs, work on my handling, almost like I'm actually I'm someone who's preparing for a season in the offseason. I like to go where I'm like dribble driving and going around cones and taking fadeaway shots out of the post. And I'll just work on shots, get a really good sweat in. And then after that, I'll just do some casual weightlifting for a bit of time. So look, I'm not anything. I'm probably not the person to ask, I guess, is real. I'm basic in there. I'm basic in there where I do cardio by playing hoops. And then I'll just, grab some dumbbells, do some shoulder stuff, do some bicep stuff, tries, legs, just casual. But I don't go heavy, heavy lift. I go more good pump. I don't go heavy max, if that makes sense. I don't crush myself to the point where I'm a walking zombie, but I'll go, I don't know, like I like going a good, if my PR is at 100%, obviously, I like going a good 80, 85% pump, an 80 to 85% pump. I sit in that range. Simmons can at least take us to the playoffs. There's a lot of teams that can just get you to the playoffs. Iguodala got you to the playoffs, and there's a reason why you ended up starting the process. You started the process because Iguodala got you to the playoffs, but then you couldn't get over the hump. You were stuck. That was the issue. You were stuck. You're trying to get away from that. Now, the difference is 8th seed, 1 seed, but it doesn't matter what Ben Simmons does for you in the regular season. He can win you a lot of regular season games. Who cares? Who cares? Seriously, I mean that. Who cares about regular season games? I try to explain that over like the last 3 years to everybody, and I would catch a lot of flack for it. Well, it gets you that 1 seed, and you need home court advantage. You're right. Home court advantage does matter, and it is important in the NBA Finals. But you also saw with the Bucks over the last 3 years, the more emphasis you put on these NBA regular season games, the more depleted and the more out of whack you are for the playoffs. In the season that they kind of took a step back from caring as much from the regular season, still care enough, but not too much. And now they're in the NBA Finals, and they're going on a roll, and now they're going into Game 5 with the split series 2-2. I don't find that ironic at all. The Sixers and Ben Simmons, sure, you can win a lot of regular season games. What's the goal, though? What's the goal? NBA cares. That's why Jokic won the MVP. Well, I mean, any league does that. Every league. The NHL does the same thing. You can get Connor McDavid, for example. You can get the Hart Trophy and be a no-brainer lock to win that, and you failed miserably in the playoffs. You can't get out of the first round with Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid if you're the Edmonton Oilers. That's how every league works. You base things off of your regular season statistics. I don't know how else you'd really do it. You wait until the season's over and the playoffs are over and then give everything out based off of the playoffs. I think that that's obviously the way that they can do it, but they never will make that change because they will award people based off the 82 games, and not everybody makes the playoffs. So it gives guys who do things in the regular season a chance to win something, even though it's irrelevant. But that's every league. That's every league. I have no idea how the Phillies are. No one in this division, no one is winning a wild card spot. Do you see the NL West right now? You go to the National League, you look at that. By the way, the Reds are 48 and 42 in the NL Central, by the way, just to put it in perspective. You have 57 win team in San Francisco, 56 win team in LA, 53 win team in San Diego. That's one division. Then the Brewers are leading the way in the Central with the Reds team that's 48 and 42. There's no way in hell a wild card position is in place here. There's just no way. Oh, I remember Corey Brewer. Oh, I remember Corey Brewer. Oh, I remember. Do I think the San Francisco Giants are fraudulent? No, I don't. I know everyone's waiting for the Gabe Kapler collapse, and I got you, but this is a different organization, and this organization puts together a good product. This organization went through a beautiful ride and won championships. I mean, I can't rule that out. They win. They've had a winning recipe for a little bit of time now. This isn't the Phillies. Epic collapse after epic collapse. So, I got to keep that in. I got to keep that in. Should you sell your Harper rookie? I'm not a big card guy, so I don't know what that would even be going for. I don't know. I have no idea. Um, I don't know what's going on here at all, but we're kind of getting to that time. I'm actually exhausted now that it's kind of settling in. The morning that I had, it's kind of like hitting me. Like, all right, damn. In the beginning, you have the adrenaline rush. You're excited. You shower afterwards. You feel good about going to the gym at 5:30, 5:45 in the morning, and then reality hits as it's almost 10 o'clock. It's, oh yeah, you did that. Oh yeah, you did that. But anyway, all right. With that said, I want to thank everyone so much for hanging out. I don't know exactly where I don't know where I was going with that sentence. I don't know about tomorrow's coffee with Brodes. It's up in the air at the moment. Just like I said, I have I'm in a wedding this Saturday. So tonight's the rehearsal dinner. Tomorrow I have some things to get done for the wedding. And then Saturday's the wedding. So I'm not 100% sure if Coffee with Brodes is happening tomorrow. It's more of a play it by ear kind of thing, just a heads up. So if you see it scheduled on your YouTube page, then you know what's going to happen. If not, then, kind of is what it is. So I'm just playing it by ear. I don't have the information. So with that said, thank you all so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll catch you guys next time.